Oh, it's bloody easy, isn't it, this Premier League lock? So easy.
You waiting for me to speak?
Yeah, just happy, mate.
Yeah, well, before we start, first I'd like to say how well Mason Mount's done. Yeah, it was. You don't expect it, do you? You don't expect to kind of canter into a 3-goal lead, and when it does happen, I know I was trying to kind of urge you to stop jinxing it, wasn't I?
On Twitter.
Yeah, older fans will remember when we blew a 3-goal lead against Leicester a long time ago when Brian Little was the manager. So that always haunts me. That does. You know, I think Villa would need to be 5-0 up before I'd be completely secure, but it was fairly straightforward, wasn't it? And it gives you encouragement, not only that Villa can hopefully be that step above the bottom 3 this season, that kind of comfortable cushion, but on the evidence of Fulham, it looks like they've already kind of nailed down one of the slots, doesn't it? 3 games in.
Yeah, I think before the season start, we both had Fulham to finish in the bottom 3, possibly even finish bottom. And if you're looking at relegation candidates, Fulham look a certainty, and Villa look the total opposite. We were very good tonight, as much as they were rubbish. We still played some great football at times there.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Grealish, you know,
I don't even think he was good, but he wasn't at his best again.
I've run out of superlatives for him. I have the close control, you know.
Oh, that run as well from the halfway line.
Like the way he dribbles the ball down the touchline, I think there's absolutely no space there. You know, he's the first. I thought we saw signs of John McGinn being back as well. I thought, you know, obviously the ball for the first goal was an absolute peach. They just look like they've got they're not owned. Yeah, well, I suppose it is a swagger. I mean, it's Fulham away, isn't it? So it's kind of urge caution.
Yeah, but you can only beat what's in front of you. Villa of old would have gone there and not been as positive, and that might have been a bit more difficult. We've gone there and took an early lead and dominated.
Yeah, and I just wonder, you know, don't want to get too carried away, says the man who just tweeted a picture of the league table with Villa sat in 4th. You know,
lovely.
But I think this is probably, and it was Fulham, but this is probably the evolution that Dean Smith wanted. I think probably last season when Villa had to try and adopt a pragmatic approach and bottle games up, although that didn't work particularly well, did it? I think that probably went against his natural instincts. I think what we've seen tonight, albeit against Fulham, is a little bit more.
Can we just preface the title of this podcast with "It was against Fulham," so we don't have to keep saying it for every point we make?
That's it, yeah. So I think that's more in keeping with the way he wants to play. He wants to have a little bit more flair on the pitch, and I think, you know, he hasn't scored again. He hasn't scored in the Premier League yet, although it's only 2 games. But I really like Ollie Watkins.
Yeah.
I just think he chases lost causes. You know, he's competitive in the air, uses the ball well. I think it's only a matter of time before he is going to score in the Premier League. But what are we now? Is that 4 games, 4 wins this season?
Yeah.
2 of them in the cup.
Also, only 1 goal conceded as well. That early goal against Burton Albion that made us all go, "Oh, here we go, classic Villa." Since then, the second minute of Burton Albion, we've played the rest of that game scoring 3. 1-0 against Sheffield United with a clean sheet, a 3-0 again against Bristol City, and a 3-0 again tonight.
Yeah, so
what is this new Aston Villa? 10 goals scored, 1 conceded in 4.
Yeah, let's hope that we're and when we kind of putting together a series of these videos at the end of the season, let's hope this is momentum building rather than us just getting carried away and referring back to the good old days of September 2020.
Do you remember that start of the season under Paul Lambert? Me and my dad were talking about this during the game. I think we had 10 points after the first 4 league games that year, and then lost like 7 in a row or something. It's like, we don't want to do that though.
I remember that. Yeah, that was like when Senderos and Villar were hailed as the new defensive meme machine, wasn't it? And I think Paul Lambert and Gabriel Bonahar both got 4-year contracts.
That's right.
Basis of winning at Anfield, I think, and a couple of other results, winning at Stoke. But yeah, we'll take it, won't we? I mean, I think the Sky still do their bit about putting a depressing stat on towards the end. So it was Villa's first clean sheet.
Yeah.
Whenever, September,
I think it said
February 2016 or something like that.
Yeah, I saw that February 2016, and I was thinking, hang on, I was working away, so I wasn't really listening as they were chatting, and I was thinking, we must have had a clean sheet in the Championship at some point away. Like, that can't be right. And it's like, oh yeah, in the Premier League, it's like, well, We've only played one season back in the Premier League since 2016, so it's not 4 years since our clean sheet, is it? We were out of the league for 3 of those. Yes, last year was bad that we didn't get one, but it's a season of no away clean sheets, not 4 years worth.
Typical Sky upsetting our big night out with depressing stats. Mind you, Alan Smith was better today. I don't think he
Do you think?
needed Fulham to win.
I liked how for that Emi Martinez save, he was like, "Oh, Fulham have hit the bar," and then he's like, "Oh, Emi Martinez might have got a finger to it." He basically got his whole palm to it, mate. Yeah. Come on.
Give us some credit, Alan.
I know, yeah. There's a good comment I just wanted to refer to, but it's gone now. Hang on a minute, where is it? Oh, yeah. Collie Lee says, at last, a looking better outfit. I've assumed he or she is referring to the great shirt choices we both picked tonight. That's a snazzy looking jacket you've got on.
Do you know how old this is? You can see the mould on the badge. Where's my badge? It's got a bit mouldy.
Is that an original from the era? What is this, like?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able
late 80s, is it?
I reckon it's 92, something like that. And I'm sure there's some Villa training wear, leisure wear aficionados and know exactly that. But it's got that musty smell again, like church pews.
You're allowed to wash your clothes, mate. Just because they're old, it doesn't mean you don't have to stop washing them.
Nah, don't bother with all that. Don't want it to shrink, do I? I've had to kind of crowbar myself into it anyway.
Yeah, good point.
I can't fit into many outfits that the 14-year-old me would have worn back then.
Literally, someone has just said, not much related, but what year is that top from? So the comments are a little bit behind our chat. So Paula, you'll get your answer in a moment. If anyone's got a question, by the way, then we're happy to take them. You can kind of set the agenda for the next 20 minutes or so. There's a lot of people saying how well Matty Cash did. What did you think of him?
Yeah, I like him. He's I've said this before, haven't we? He's very physical and mobile. And you know, he's got a bit of pace about him. The Villa back four seem to be fairly athletic and speedy now. That, you know, it helps if they're not doing last ditch tackles and throwing themselves in front of blocks. But good thing is, when they're not set and when they are caught out, there's normally somebody who can come along and clear up the mess. And I think Cash did that a couple of times, didn't he, by moving across to cover Concert. So yeah, they look very mobile. It's all going a bit too well for me, Dan.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I mean, it almost went wrong with the goal that Fulham scored that didn't. The Martinez, I don't know what he did. I don't know whether he was just slightly distracted by Mings going for it, and it wasn't great, was it? That I'm glad we got away with that one.
Yeah, well, like I said, he's barely, other than that, he's barely put a foot or a hand wrong. So I think it was probably the foul that happened in his eye line.
Yeah, perhaps
that put him off anyway. So I'm glad that Mitrovic got pulled up for that. But what are you laughing at?
It's a great question. Yeah. I said ask for questions, so I'm not surprised that people send in silly things. But I mean, this is what this podcast is all about. Christos says, "Oh, hang on a sec, it's gone." Christos says, "How long has Matt been bald?" Serious question. Just as I went out the corner, everyone's like, "Oh, what do you think of this? What do you think of that?" And then that one made me laugh. How long have you been bald, Matt?
I was born bald.
I've seen pictures of you with hair. You had a good head of hair as a kid.
Yeah, I had hair for about probably 17, 18 years, and then since then it's all disappeared. But yeah, sorry to I'll have to wear a wig next time.
I'm not wanting to talk about hair. This hairline is getting further and further back as the months roll by, so we'll move away from hair. Nathan says, what kind of impact do you think Craig Shakespeare's had? Is it too early to say that new coaches and Villa look better?
Difficult to say, isn't it? Because we don't really have any insight yet into exactly what he does. I think we said this at the time. I think this was said this at the time when we were calling for him to be appointed before Dean Smith took our advice and appointed him. But I think it was the case that not only did Villa need to adapt and improve their players by recruiting better players or different players, but they also needed to vary up the coaching and bring something a bit fresh through the door. I mean, I'm sure Craig Shakespeare would probably love to claim it as his, but I don't know. I think it was just bringing something fresh in, and so far Villa seem to be reaping the rewards.
Yeah, it's nice as well that, you know, obviously there wasn't much of a gap, was there, between last season and this season, that we've still been able to continue that form. Again, we still look defensively pretty solid, and yes, it's only Fulham. But there was the Sheffield United game as well. Yes, they only had 10 men for 80 minutes, but still, it's clean sheets, isn't it? And that's, you know, we've got to take what you can get. Villa have not had clean sheets for a while. Villa have not been good defensively for a while, so let's gloat in it while we can. We've got to play Liverpool next, so that might not last much longer.
Yeah, listen, I'm not trying to kind of do down Villa's achievement. 6 points from the first couple of games. I think somebody was saying, was it the commentators were saying it took 8 games to get the second win?
I did wonder. Yeah, I haven't checked the stats. I know that obviously we lost the first 2 games of last season in Tottenham and Bournemouth, so we're 6 points better off than we were this time last season. So 6 points done, 34 more to go, at least.
Yeah, I think I said before the game, it's one of the best away days as well. Fulham, probably not on a Monday night at quarter to 6. Might not have been the easiest commute if we were in normal circumstances, but it wouldn't be great. I was thinking this today, and I know I'm kind of saying something that's not going to be possible until we get rid of the second, third, fourth wave of COVID and stuff. But Jack Grealish, I really, really want to go back into a football and see him play. And he's been given a 5-year contract, so that gives us a better chance of going to see him. But it's so frustrating, isn't it? So frustrating when they're winning games and we can't be there to witness it. Not that I've probably been at Fulham away anyway, to be honest.
I was going to say that. Would you rather be back in stadiums and Villa not be as good, or we stay away from stadiums and Villa keep winning? Maybe the fans are the curse.
Probably if we could go back in for the title decider, that one game only.
Oh, the FA Cup final.
Yeah, that'd be fine. But Villa, I'll take Villa winning for now. To be honest, and hope they kind of ease us back in gently. While we're on the subject of that, obviously they're not issuing season tickets this year. That decision has now been made, and there's gonna, if the restrictions are eased, I think they're going to do it by ballot of existing season ticket holders or last season ticket holders. Do you think that seems to be the kind of fairest course of action?
Oh God, I wasn't expecting this line of questioning tonight when I sat down for Facebook Live. You don't normally do any proper work. Yeah, I think it probably is, isn't it? I think you could probably rule out a certain demographic of the fan base with the restrictions on age and stuff like that. So that would rule out a few people automatically, which again maybe isn't fair, but makes sense in terms of the older people are more at risk. So obviously I used to go with my dad and my granddad. My granddad would probably be automatically ruled out because of his age. So that's one less person who can get a ticket. Yeah, I don't know. I suppose if you'd already got a season ticket last season, you should get some kind of priority. But I don't know. I wonder whether there's people who, even if they do have the chance to go, would turn it down. Do you know what I mean? Will people think, well, I could in theory go, but I still don't quite feel safe, and I'm not going to bother? Would you go if you could?
Probably.
Yes,
I'll probably have your granddad's ticket, to be honest. The age is probably quite similar. I don't know. The thing is, it's how many people. I know we're going a bit off topic here, but it's how many people would be allowed in as well. Because to me, would kind of 3,000 Villa fans rattling around inside Villa Park? Would that be? I suppose you'd like to be there because you're there, but it's not the same, is it?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be the same as the good old days for a while. So it's either you take 3,000 or 4,000 or 10,000 or nothing. Some people might just say, yeah, well, if it can't be 42,000, then let's just keep it at nothing. That's the fairest way of doing it. It's either everybody or nobody. But I don't know. Thankfully, we don't have to make these important decisions. Okay. There's a few comments coming in about Trezeguet. Sorry, through these comments, someone says that you've lost weight and wants to know what your regime is.
That's very surprising because I don't want to confide with you, but being as Anne from Slimming World, I've not spoken to her for a few months. I put on a stone during lockdown. I have started playing five-a-side again last night. So,
what position do you play? If you play centre back, you might get a game for Fulham.
No, I play goal hanger. So just kind of, I've got a circle of about 10 yards that I kind of move gradually. But yeah, thank you for that. Whoever said I've lost weight, so that will encourage me to keep stuffing my face without consequence. Cheers for that.
All you got to do, mate, is just wear baggier clothes, and then it looks like you've lost a bit of weight. That jacket looks nice and baggy, so you look like you'd lost weight, Matt.
What, maybe wear the clothes when I was 16 rather than the clothes when I was 14?
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, as I was
16, wait.
Go on.
When I was 16 would probably be. I was a bit of a kind of a grebo, so a bit like tie-dye kind of Wonder Stuff t-shirts and kind of combats and big kind of Dr. Martens and stuff like that. So
nipple piercings.
Moving on.
What kind of era would that have been for Villa when you were 16? What we're talking? Is that mid-90s?
Yeah, 94, mate. The glory.
Yeah.
We would have been competitive back then. A bit like this season, when we competed for the top four and won a trophy, that kind of thing.
Yeah, nice. I wasn't even born then. That's how young I am. Only just though. Only just. I'm not that young. Right, where was I? Trezeguet. A few people saying he was a different level tonight, much better than he was last year. Did well off the ball, tracked back well. Seems up for it this season. Do you think that's a case of knowing that he's got direct competition breathing down his neck at last in Bertrand Traore?
I think so, potentially. With respect to El Ghazi, they've been kind of much of a muchness, haven't they? Him and Trezeguet, although Trezeguet obviously came good, a couple of goals towards the end of last season, but I think it has raised the game and lifted the standard now with Traore there. It's exactly what we said, didn't we? Kind of the summer recruitment was meant to hopefully mean that people who were the starters last season, who weren't quite at it, either then became substitutes or raised their game.
Yeah.
And that's what's happened. He's raised his game. With Trezeguet, and people will have listened to me slag Trezeguet off many times, but I don't think with Trezeguet it's a lack of effort. I think he's always...
no, I don't think it's ever that with any of them.
Buzzing around, isn't he? I think sometimes it's a lack of quality, but I think I think it's been a welcome kick up the backside, and long may it continue.
Yeah, totally agree. I'm just reading some of these comments now. We don't, when we try and keep it a little bit more structured, we don't tend to go to the comments so often, but there's a few good ones coming in tonight. There's a great one here from Adam, who's clearly a first-time viewer who stumbled upon us for the first time and says, "Let's talk about the Villa, not what you've been eating." Adam, you're in the wrong place, mate. This is what we do. Villa rarely gets a mention on the podcast, but we try and keep it where we can. John McGinn. Talk to me about John McGinn, because literally last week, we're always pretty much a week behind with these kind of things. We're sitting here going, oh, well, we need to be patient with his fitness and he doesn't quite look the same. And then all of a sudden tonight, he's doing roulettes and looks like the old McGinn back.
Oh, that little 360 spin that he did.
Lovely, that was. Wow. Is there a name for that? I didn't see it at the time live. I seen it on the replay and my dad said about, I'd done this turn. I was like, oh, was it a Cruyff turn? He was like, no. He's like, I don't know what you call it. I was like, it's like a roulette. Is that the word you call for it? A 360, a roulette?
It's like a pirouette, isn't it?
Yeah. Is there a player? Someone said McGinn's Zidane spin. Is that a thing? Zidane spin? I don't know.
His name.
Yeah, McGinn spin.
Yeah. Brilliant. Leave the proper name for it in the comment. It's bound to be something off FIFA, isn't there? There's bound to be some kind of new hipster way of describing it. But yeah, I'll get my words out in a minute. I think McGinn, we'll probably cut him more slack because we know what we can, because it's weird, isn't it? We know what he's capable of, so we're kind of urging him to do it. And then when he hasn't been doing it, we get frustrated. But I think it's a case of him playing his way back in from such a kind of serious injury. And, if you're a goalkeeper and you come back from an injury like that, there's not going to be the same demands as there are if you're John McGinn. That's John McGinn's game, being this all-action Duracell bunny midfielder. So I love to see it. I'm so delighted because Villa with McGinn in the team are a much better team. And even towards the end as well, I thought kind of having a different option off the bench in Jacob Ramsey, which didn't really have much. It didn't really get involved that much. What he did was neat and tidy, but a fit John McGinn and another midfield option from the bench probably solves some of the issues that we were worrying about a couple of weeks ago when we were saying, do they need another central midfielder? I'm not saying that Jacob Ramsey is now, has saved 30 million quid by not signing another midfielder, but I think those little kind of that encouraging signs from John McGinn will have really kind of got Dean Smith and co excited.
Well, yeah, because say if you sign another midfielder, Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Ross Barkley are the two that have been rumoured. Conor Hourihane, then you would expect probably drops down to the bench and he's first choice midfielder off the bench, and Jacob Ramsey is probably then second, isn't he? I'd rather Jacob Ramsey come on than Nakamba, wouldn't you? I suppose it's different positions in it a little bit and it's horses for courses, but if you've got a 19-year-old there who's the next big thing, get him playing, give him some minutes if he can afford to. We're 3-0 up against Fulham, why not bring him on?
I agree, and it's probably a bit harsh on Nakamba because we probably give Ramsey a little bit more love and a little bit more credit because he has come through the ranks. But there was a time, wasn't there, where Nakamba and Douglas Luiz were kind of much of a muchness, and Luiz has stepped up. Bit like we were saying, I suppose, with the way that Trezeguet stepped up. You've got to kind of, it's a squad game, isn't it? You've got to kind of justify yourself in that squad, and I think Villa are finally finding that in most positions. I wouldn't say every position, but in most positions, there's now some direct competition. You know, you've got Matty Cash and Gilbert at right back. I don't know. I suppose I was going to start reeling them off then and think, is there much competition at centre half? I don't know. Bjorn Engels seems to have had the longest kind of mysterious injury layoff, and you know, you probably would want a little bit more in depth than Courtney Hawes. Generally across the team, without me going through every position, generally,
that's fine.
A bit more competitive, because I could feel my argument trailing off.
There's a few comments coming through. The Maradona spin, apparently someone's calling it. Someone says you were both putting disrespect on this McGinn guy. I only know a McGinniester. Fair comment, nice. We don't want to get accused of being Gabby
on Jake's ball. Is that thing his dad out of the In-Betweeners?
Yeah, it's
Neil's dad.
Yeah, Neil's dad. That's it.
It's Neil's dad. Yeah. Sorry, as you were. Carry on.
Nice distraction there. Someone else just called it something good. I've missed it. Someone says, "Shout out to your Hoover in the background." I don't think it's a Hoover. Is it that stepladder?
It is a Hoover, isn't it?
Yeah, is it? It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a knacker, actually. I should have a Dyson, really. I'll have to boss for a pay rise. Good spotting, though. Well done.
I mean, it's mad, isn't it, that like we're here to chat about Villa, like with people say we get distracted, yet someone is like looking to see what that tiny little object is there on the side and worked out it's a Hoover. Nice.
Well, I'm glad we're holding your attention anyway. That's good.
Is it a Hoover or a vacuum where you come from?
It's a vacuum, really, isn't it? Because Hoover's the brand, isn't it?
Oh, is it? I always say Hoover. Is Hoover a brand?
Yes, Hoover's a brand.
Oh, is it? Okay. All right. You learn something new every day. Oh, where is this podcast going? There was somebody I also wanted to ask you about. Oh, Conor Hourihane, the delivery man. I'll put on Facebook. If he plays, he delivers something, a goal or an assist. The guy cost 1.5 million. John McGinn cost 3 million. Jack Grealish has come through the academy. It's not a bad outlay, is it, for that midfield?
It's all right. And if you went down the cash and carry and put those in your boot, and then went to sell them in some kind of a shop unit, you'd do all right. Score with his right foot as well.
And to be fair, decent finish. What'd you say, sorry?
Are you left-footed or right-footed?
No, I'm right-footed.
See, I'm left-footed. I'd have spooned that.
Would you?
Yeah. He'd hit my heel and I'd have scuffed it. People I played with last night could vouch for that. My right foot is just for standing.
Let's be honest, if it was on your left foot, would you have spooned it?
I'd have broke the net with it, mate, to be honest.
Okay, all right. Fair enough. I mean, I've got no evidence to prove that you're any good at football or not. So
you scored me once.
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, you weren't great then, though. Yeah.
I wasn't bad. I was just about twice as heavy as I am now. I thought it was decent.
True. What year was that? Was that 2017?
I remember. It was one of the kit launches, wasn't it?
It's the Unibet kit. Is that the second year in the championship?
Possibly. Tight fitting that was.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah, I've got the home one, but it's I think it's extra large. It's a little bit baggier these days. Yeah, someone says took us 8 points to get six. Took us 8 games, to get 6 points last season. As much as sounding like we're getting carried away, it is good to be ahead of schedule, isn't it, in terms of points? Because if 40 is still the aim, you've already got 6. And yes, we're a game behind everybody, but a couple of teams have played 3 games and have got much less points than 6. So we're in a decent position, aren't we? Even though it is Liverpool next.
Yeah, I sound like I think Villa can take on the world now, but even
I do feel a little bit like that. I feel a little bit giddy, to be honest. And not that I'm expecting us to finish even top 10, top 12, but we look, and again, it's only Fulham, but we look way better now. We look confident, and with a couple more additions, perhaps, I'm pretty confident of finishing 14th, 13th, or better. I don't think again, I'm at risk of making myself look stupid here, but I don't think we'll be involved in a relegation scrap this year. Is that too silly to say too early?
Do you want to clip this out now and stick it in a folder on your desktop?
Yeah, save it. Review in May 2021. What do people think? Do people think we'll still be in a relegation battle? I'm interested. What do you think? Do you think it will still be a struggle this season, or will we be better than that?
I'd take 16th if somebody offered it me now.
Really?
Yeah. Just there's going to be times over the
I think
season
there's more
where-
potential in this squad, though.
Yeah, I think there is. I think listen, Villa just need to see how far this early momentum carries them. It's a shame we're not playing somebody really crap at the weekend, because I think if Villa get points on the board and they can play with a bit more freedom and play the way that Dean Smith wants them to play, then I think we can kind of dream. We can look. I'm not saying top half of the table. We can look for kind of 12 or 13. I think it's when you get a sticky run of results and you think, do Villa have to play in a more inhibited way and get a little bit more guarded and a little bit more cautious? That's when you start kind of playing scared football. But there's no reason why. What did you tip Villa for at the start of the season?
15th, I think, and I'm already thinking that was a bit too apprehensive.
You're so young and excitable, aren't you?
Mate, last week everyone's going, "Oh, this guy's too negative. We just beat Sheffield United, be happy." And now I'm sitting here, going the other way, and now I'm too positive.
I'm glad that we've kind of fallen back into our natural positions, really. Me, the grumpy old man, and you, the kind of bright-eyed, excitable young man.
Well, let's read some of these comments out then. We've got Phil Collins says mid-table. Pierre Blair Gerard O'Dowd, which is a cracking name, by the way. If that's real, that is an excellent name. Says 14th. Carl McClatchy, I'm butchering these, says 12th. Nick Scott says agree, 10th to 15th. We look so much better. Paul Arnold says no, we'll be mid-table, boring end to the season. Lovely. I'd absolutely take that. Jim Lane thinks mid-table, no problem. Nathan, 14th, will still struggle. I don't think 14th would be considered a struggle, unless it was we were struggling all the way down the bottom and then only got to 14th on like the final day or something. Paul Brooks, 11th or 12th, will be a great season. I think we're capable of it. Keep up the momentum, and it's very possible. Someone's just said 8th then, but it's quickly scrolled past. Where were you? Who just said 8th? Chris says DNI's his players now, a couple more in top 10. Here it is. Paul says, no way, I think 8th, guys. I may be mad. With 4 more signings, we can give a lot of team shocks. 4 more signings might be as a bit optimistic as 8th, but
8th is the one on your keyboard sticking?
Oh, funny.
It's great though, isn't it? After kind of
like if we get battered by Liverpool, everyone are going, "Oh, tough season we're in for here." You got to take what you can get.
Yeah, but you won't. You'll be. Oh, we better concede the title now. That's what you'll be like.
Mate, I think that should start etching the A on the Premier League title already for us. To be honest, get it on there. This is the year.
What, the kazoo A? That looks like a cup.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the next couple of games. I just want to wrap up because we're approaching half an hour. The next few fixtures. Can we see that on screen? Yes, we can. So, Stoke City in the League Cup, round of 16 on Thursday. First of all, how do you think we'll get through that? Are we looking at a cup quarter final?
Can I just say, how fast is this competition? When's the final being played? October?
Yeah, I said this the other day. When I was hosting one of our Facebook Lives with one of the other clubs, we were talking about, we're only one fixture away from the quarter final. It's mad that you're talking about the quarter final of a cup game in September. Like, that's back end of season stuff usually, but apparently the quarter final doesn't get played till like December or something. So we've squeezed in the first few rounds, and then the gap between round of 16 and quarter final is like 2.5 months or something, apparently. So I don't know why they've done that, but hey ho.
I think
should beat Stoke basically, yeah. And that'll be 5 wins in a row. And then then Liverpool come to town on TV, and then what happens there? You've won 5 in a row. You never know, do you?
Yeah, well, it's awkward timing on Liverpool one because my 5-a-side takes place now at 7:00 on a Sunday night. So,
oh really?
What we might have to do is bring it an hour early to Blackheath Goals.
What, Villa Liverpool?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So, having lost so much weight, I'm loath to give up 5-a-side this weekend. What we're saying, Villa.
Let's forget those bottom 4. Let's not look at 8 games in advance. Look at Stoke City, Liverpool, Leicester, and Leeds. How many wins are we looking at there out of those 4 games, do you think? And again, comment section, what do you think?
Would you want to leave the Stoke one to one side and talk about Prem? Or
go on then, yeah, go the 4 Prem games then. Everyone thinks we'll beat Stoke. Forget that. Liverpool, Leicester, Leeds, Southampton. 4 games there. How many points are we looking at? End of October, that takes us to.
You'd probably take 4 from it, wouldn't you?
Really? Only 4?
Sorry.
Really?
Me? Silly me thinking that we're going to beat the champions, then we're going to beat the league leaders who whacked Man City for 5.
I think you can beat Leicester and Leeds and Southampton there.
I haven't gone as far as Southampton, so I was looking at the next 3.
Next 4, I said.
The next 4.
Yeah.
All right, then, 12.
So you always have to go too far, don't you? Stoned villain. Can't believe I just read that out. This is a problem with doing it live. Says 10. Jake says 2. Neil's dad there. You're now called Neil. If he was born in 2005, by the way, that's so young. Alex Barrow says 2 or 3. Mark Kuzner says 6. Craig Taylor Broad says 2 or 3. Ian Freeman 7. Ian, I like it. That's more like it. Joanne Spear says 5. I remember Joanne Spear from the last live stream. She said about dulling the blaze, didn't she, for Sheffield United, because her name was Spear and it was along like the sword theme. So thanks for tuning in again, Joanne. Paul Arnold says 4. Felt like Alan Partridge then on radio. Gary John David Eaton, another great name. Is that 2 people? 2 people sharing an account? 4 games, 4 points. Richard Bartlam says 12 points easy. Loads of comments. Thank you very much for tuning in. There's 500 people watching. My word.
Oh, mate. Sorry about this.
Pete Tandy says 7. Flubber Dobber Rub says they take 4 points from the next 3. What a name that is. Flubber Dobber Rub Dub.
Flubber Dobber Rub Dub.
It sounds like a medical condition. Lewis Bradley says 5. Richard says 8. Yeah, so there's a mixed bag. It's between 5 and 8. Most people seem to be saying, or 2 or 3. So there's either fairly negative going 2 or 3, or maybe too optimistic and saying 7 or 8. There isn't really much middle ground, is there, with Villa?
I'll go 6. Win 2, lose 2. I don't know which 2.
Yeah, lose against Liverpool and Leicester, beat Leeds and Southampton. On paper, you would look at and say that's probably fair. All those games are a week apart now as well. No midweek games in there. Is there an international break as well after Liverpool?
Yeah, got a 2-week break after the Liverpool game. So
just think if you sneak something against Liverpool and then you got a break and then you come back confident, do something against Leicester, and then you got Leeds, Southampton, Brighton, West Ham. We're looking at Champions League before we know it.
Imagine if you beat Liverpool, I might just kind of have the league table printed off and put as a big, where my wedding picture sits above the mantelpiece. I might just move that down and put the league table above it instead.
King 81 says Dan's gone crazy. 1 win, suddenly thinks we're beating Leicester and Southampton. Why not? If you don't believe that Villa are going to win games when we've just won 2 in a row, 2 games into a season, you've got to have some optimism, surely. I'm not saying we will go and do that, but on paper, I didn't say Leicester either. I said Leeds. King 81. Flubber Rob Dub Dub says my real name is Rob and I'm from Housekeeping. Flubber Dobber Rob Dub is just better. Housekeeping Massive in the chat. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Housekeeping Massive. What's Flubber Dobber Dub Rob Dub? What's your local boozer of choice? Meet you there at 5 to 10.
Good question. I think that's probably the end of it tonight. People saying Liverpool look good tonight, which, I mean, shock horror. Premier League champions look good in game. But yeah, good night. Happy with that.
So what's next? Did you want to give a plug to James Rushton's new kind of
yeah, can do.
Extra? Go on, you know more about it than me.
I mean, you literally know nothing about it, do you? That's just why you've handed it over to me. Yeah, a little bit of housekeeping then. There's 400 people still here. People might be tuning in here on Facebook for the very first time and don't know who we are. We host the Claret and Blue podcast on all good podcast providers and bad ones too. Just search for Claret and Blue. Our logo is this side. It's up there somewhere on screen. Up this way. There it is. That's what it looks like. Yes, we're on YouTube, Spotify, Acast, iTunes, all the usual places. So you can find us once a week chatting about all things Aston Villa immediately after games like we're doing now. So if you're only finding us on Facebook, we also have a YouTube channel. And we're also introducing a secondary show called AVFC Extra, which is a more in-depth, serious, non-waffle, non-food jacket, hair Dyson-related podcast where we'll be doing a bit more analysis, a bit more thought. Me and James have recorded the first episode that is out on Wednesday, the 30th of September, which is kind of an introduction to what football stats even are, just to get us off the ground, because I know a lot of people don't know what things are. Do you know what XG is, Matt?
XG. I know what double XL is.
There we
Expected
go.
goals, isn't it?
Expected goals, mate. Yes, exactly. That's the easy one. But yeah, we've covered. There's a 40-minute podcast coming on Wednesday, and then every Wednesday for the foreseeable future. So we've got a couple of podcasts out a week, and any extra stuff we can throw in if we can get any players and ex-players. Sorry. Like we did in lockdown, like someone just mentioned in the comments, that'd be great. I've got in contact with a little sneak preview here for the 300 people the 100 people have dropped off since we've just started waffling. For the 350 people that have just stayed, we've had a word with Tony Daly about getting him on the podcast and talking about like sports science and that kind of thing. So yeah, 2 podcasts a week. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thanks for all your support. We do appreciate it. I can't believe there's been almost 500 people watching us on a Monday night. But yeah, enjoyed that. It's good fun.
Right, can I go? Hey, before I go, I've got a dilemma that I could do with the remaining stragglers to help me out with. We've got no milk at the moment, and I want a cup of tea. Do I have black tea, or do I go up the shop and buy some milk? Bearing in mind,
you live right by a shop.
Yeah, I do, but it means leaving the house, doesn't it? What would you do, Dan?
I'd get the milk. I don't drink black tea. Black coffee, yes. Black tea is grim.
No, I'm gonna have a black tea. I think. Thanks for that. Anyway, cheers.
Why don't you just have a beer or something?
No, I want a hot beverage because it saves me turning the heating on.
Our heating's on. It's bloody boiling in here.
Who's put it on? I bet your mum's put it on. And your
My
dad
mum's put it on.
it
My mum, yeah. My mum's put it on, yeah.
Yeah, I thought as much. We done?
Yeah, we're done. Yeah, just. I mean, I think what will happen is, for the Facebook Live audience, you're obviously seeing this because it's live. I think for the edited version that I'm going to put out after, we get rid of all this waffle about milk. So I'd ended the podcast and you asked me a stupid question. So yes, thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back again on Wednesday. We'll be back again on Thursday night. Ash Priest will be here after the game because he'll be there and we won't be watching it because it's not on TV once again. I'm very annoyed. So we'll be here. Oh, I'm not paying 10 quid for a cup game.
I'll pay for it and I'll Facebook Live it to you.
No. I don't want to do that. So yeah, episode on Wednesday, Thursday. We'll be back again Sunday night after Liverpool, and then the following Wednesday. It never stops. You can never get rid of us. This is it now. Claret and Blue. It does not stop. So thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you, Matt, for jumping on for half an hour. And yeah, we'll chat again soon.